passionate to beat somebody. We're passionate to beat everybody.
My expectation is we go out and dominate and create a nightmare and make people never want to play you again.
If you are a fan of another team and your coach is not out there doing everything that Kirby Smart is doing right now, you are already losing. You feel however you want to feel about that.
Nowhere to run and nowhere to hide for 4 quarters. They got to see us in our house for 4 quarters. They got to look us in the eye for 4. This is about us and our family and our house. This is about us. This is our mentality. We ain't backing down. We ain't running. Set a tone, send a message. This is our house. Physical toughness wins in football now. And if you in this room, you got it. If you come in here, you better believe in it. Because this physical toughness, it's what makes the difference. Elite focus. That's all I'm doing to the guy across from me. I'm fixing to whip his ass. Not in my box, not today. It's about us. It's about our family. We attack. You take that helmet and you strike them. And you strike them and you strike them. That's how you get respect. Physically, I will break them.
Welcome in. It's Sunday Night Bones, that show where we take a look at everything that happened in the world of Georgia football that actually means something over the last week and the things that make me smile a little bit along the way. And we talk about it all, and I do it with you. So thank you so much for being here with us tonight. And right from jump, I have to let you guys know that somebody has kicked this show off the right way. That's right. My man Bruce jumping in here with a super chat. 5-piece coming off the top. Hello to all the dogs in here. Let's freaking go. I'm so hyped for this team. We're loaded, y'all, and Kirby Smart is the truth. Well, I'm not going to argue with you, Bruce. What can I say? Sometimes folks, they will do super chats just to get me or whoever to respond and make us say something that we don't agree with. That's not the case here. That is not the case here at all, because I agree with everything you're saying. I think that Georgia's in position to do really good things this year, and I think that Kirby Smart is the foundation of it all. And if you follow this channel, you know that because I try to spell out exactly why that happens. That's one of the biggest things we do on this channel or over at Plus is we try to give you that different angle about the game. So thank you, Bruce, for supporting the work. Thank you for the super chat, and thank you for allowing me to point out everything that we do over here, because it's a good time. Who else is here with us? Let's see. Timothy's in here. Carol's in here. Steele is in here with us. We're also live streaming over on Facebook tonight. So you guys, if you're over there, jump on in there, leave us a chat, and let us know where you're watching from, because that's always a good time. But like I said, this show is fun. We don't talk about everything, though. We talk about all the things that I find interesting. And this week, of course, we have to talk about the fact that SEC Media Days are here. Just 2 sleeps. And the SEC, the bright lights that is the SEC Media Day show, it's all going to crank up. It's going to get started early in the morning. You got 4 solid days. All 16 teams are going to roll through there. Our Georgia Bulldogs are going to show up on Tuesday, and they're going to just wow the place like they always do. And there's going to be some news, inevitably, that's going to break over the next 4 days. But a whole lot of it is going to be stuff that, you know, the sound bites will kind of fade by August, and it won't be that much like depth. But as I talked about this week, when King Kirby steps to the podium, when the Georgia Bulldogs come to the show, they come with a purpose. They come looking to deliver a message. And it's only the smart thing to do. If you watch, go back and look for it. You can look for it on YouTube. You can go back and watch the video that I did on this earlier this week. Kirby Smart comes prepared to deliver a message and take control of the narrative for his team for 2026 or whatever season it is. This is year 11 for Kirby. So he's a veteran at this whole thing. And he understands the power that this sort of spotlight gives you. And having won back-to-back SEC titles, 4 SEC championships overall, 2 national championships, and being the longest tenured coach in the conference, his words carry a little more weight. So whatever power that Jeff Lebby may be deriving from media days, whatever Kirby Smart is getting from this exposure is amplified 10, 12, 20-fold. That's just how it works. Because, yes, people are interested in what Mississippi State's going to be this year, but how many people outside the state of Mississippi are going to be interested? When Kirby Smart steps to the podium, everybody in the SEC is going to want to know what's going on, and everybody else in college football is going to pay attention too. It's not the same. There's a difference there. And Kirby recognizes that power. He understands it, and he wields it as a tool to help further the interests of the University of Georgia and his football program. And that is just one of the many things that I want you guys to watch out for over the next few days. See if the other coaches around the conference are doing it, or if that's just something that Kirby Smart does. And you will see a difference. Everybody does not carry themselves the same way or operate in the same way. But when it comes to Kirby Smart and the Dawgs, they certainly do. Now, in the chat over here, I see you guys are dropping some stuff in here, calling for football, waiting on it. Can't wait for it to get here. And it's just interesting to see what people have to say about the Georgia program right now. Because even with everything that they've accomplished, and if you think that somehow they're not accomplishing something, I have to question whether or not you know the game. Because in a world where everything is shifting, NIL, eligibility, all of it, there are things that Kirby Smart has put in place that allow this program to stay steady and continue to dominate the rest of the league. Top to bottom, I'm still going to argue with you that the SEC is the strongest league in college football. It's more competitive top to bottom. And yet, Kirby Smart and the Dawgs, they just keep doing what they're doing. Now, understand, this is football. The ball bounces your way sometimes. Injuries happen to the Dawgs and everybody else. And yet, they see their way through it. They persevere. So, it is a really cool thing to watch. And it is a really special thing to watch. And if you don't acknowledge that, then you're robbing yourself of what is actually the golden era of Georgia Bulldogs football. So, I mean, you can have a sourpuss attitude about it if you want to, and there are Georgia fans that do, but I will just, again, raise that flag and say, you are throwing this away. You're wasting your opportunity to enjoy this. Now, if you're not a Georgia Bulldog fan, then nobody cares. We don't care. We don't care about your opinion because we don't have to. And that's just the reality. So spinning off of that point, and we look ahead to what Georgia has done, we learned this week that Georgia is the youngest team in college football heading into 2026. I did a video on this one too. I would encourage you to go back and watch it because I walk you through and explain how these people came up with these numbers. Our good friends over at RotoWire, they took care of it. They did all the research for us and they laid it out. The Dawgs at 19.81 years of age are the youngest team in college football. And there is a full calendar year plus between them and the oldest team in college football. And you say, man, why do I care? Does that mean Georgia's going to stink because they're so young? It's actually the opposite. And that is why you should care. The fact that Georgia was supposed to be on the back foot last year, they were super young. All the storm clouds were gathering for Georgia to take a back seat. And because of the way Georgia does things, because of the leadership of Kirby Smart, because of the way they recruit and develop and maintain their roster and have continuity inside the building, he took that young team last year who had freshmen playing all over the place, inexperienced starters playing everywhere. They went right out there, won the SEC. And they've done that for 2 years in a row because the year before they did that, in 24, they were coming off a year where they graduated pretty much their entire offensive line. So Bobo and the guys had to put together a brand new offense around a brand new quarterback. Like it was something that certainly got your attention. I mean, they did it that year. They won the title. They come back in 25 and they're like, man, Georgia lost all those studs off that 24 team. And they won it again. All the while, that young roster, the youngest in college football, was banking reps at the University of Georgia against SEC competition and playing at a level that allowed them to win yet another title. That seems pretty scary to me. That seems if you were somewhere else, not Athens, Georgia, that's a problem. Because you had your shot to get a hold of Georgia when they were on the back foot, when they were supposedly falling off, when things were not right in Athens, when there's no way they could get it done. All they did was go pull down another brass ring, stacking hardware. Now all those dudes are back. You lose one or two guys at wide receiver. Essentially, everything else is in place. There's not a lot that's changed in Athens. And now they're a veteran. Now all those pups that had to do all that playing last year, that was still good enough to go win it all inside the conference, now they come back. So if you're in the SEC and you're looking around and you're like, well, LSU, okay, Texas, all right, whatever you're looking at, you can't not feel the looming presence of the University of Georgia, because all they are is back and ready to do it again. And it's like clockwork. There are people out there right now who are looking at the SEC and going, Georgia's right for the picking. They're going to get them. Somebody's going to get them. That might turn out to be true. But are you willing to bet on it? Are you willing to bet against the superstructure and the system and the roster that Kirby Smart has in play right now, after they've had a year to do nothing except learn and grow and get better at what they're supposed to be there to do, which is win football games? Takes a brave bet. That'll be something else to watch at SEC Media Days. Are people out there saying, yeah, Georgia's not going to win it? And there will be some. They're going to pick Texas. Maybe they pick LSU. Maybe they pick Ole Miss. Alabama's probably going to get a vote here or there. I'm sure Vanderbilt will. They always do. Seriously, though, who's going to bet against this roster that is still super young, but now is experienced, veteran, entitled? I don't know. Free to do whatever you like. I'm just saying that that's something that people should pay attention to. That's what I'm saying. I mean, you can say all you want about Georgia's on the back foot. You can say Kirby's lost his fastball. You can say that it's a new era. Okay. I will actually give you the last one. It's definitely a new era. But have we seen anything from Kirby, his team, his program, that would make us think that they are not going to be just exactly who they have been, except now they've got more experience? Now, if you want to look at it this way, they've got more motivation because it's money years. It's league years. They've been there for 3 years, and now they're like, okay, it's time to go to the NFL. Because, oh yeah, that's a key part of the whole thing in Athens. That NFL pipeline, that's part of the reason they're so young. Players come in and they play now because they can. They play because they're good enough. That means they're old enough. So 17, 18, 19 years old, they're banking reps, winning titles, competing for national championships. And then they cycle out by the time they're 21. So you're going to have a young roster. I mean, they have one this year, that's for sure. The youngest one in college football. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this thing plays out. I'm going to be watching just like you are, but I'm fired up for it. What's up? Who else is jumping in the chat here? Let's see. What do we got going on? Steele? Did I say hello, Steele? I don't recall if I did, but hello, Steele. Thomas is in here. We've got Timothy. I mentioned you. And, oh, there's Davey Pye. What's up, buddy? Good to see you back in here on a Sunday evening. My good buddy Tim is in here. Tim Bushel, welcome in. Ralph is in on Facebook. Thanks for checking us out over there. Scott Anderson. And who's that? Shane. Yeah, there's Shane. Shane was like, yeah, come see us. I hope you can make the stream. I got it up for us here, Shane. We're getting it done. There's Scuttlebutt Media checking in from Hawaii. Aloha. Long distance. I appreciate it. You guys keep it rolling over here in the chat. Y'all keep it rolling because we still got more stuff to talk about. There was something else that happened this week that I don't know if everyone fully grasped exactly what went down. And I don't know that I'm going to be able to frame it fully for you tonight. I think I can frame it. I don't know that I can flesh it out for you, but we're going to try. This week, the university made news when Nike announced that they had signed several Georgia Bulldogs to new NIL deals. They had taken 6 different players that are already on the roster at the University of Georgia and said, we choose you to come and represent our brand. Now, let's stop right there. Stop right there and think about who we're talking about. We're talking about Nike, one of the biggest companies in the world and have been for decades. And how do you think they became what they are? They probably know a little bit of something about who and what to back with their money, with their marketing, with their brand. So the fact that they looked at UGA and said, you know what, you've got 6 on your roster right now that we want to align with, we want to bring you on board, that should tell you something. People, these guys, they've got skin in the game. They've got money on the table. And they're not throwing that around willy-nilly. So again, going back to that conversation about whether or not you think Georgia's on the back foot or doesn't have talent or doesn't have difference makers, Nike doesn't seem to agree. So let's start right there. Now, Nike made the announcement that they were going to be bringing on board not only current players on the roster, but they really made a splash because they looked at what was going on in the high school camps this summer, and they selected a Georgia Bulldog who is not yet in Athens to add to their roster. That would be 5-star tight end commitment Jaxon Dollar, who is locked into Georgia. He's coming to Athens. And they went ahead and brought him on board. And when they announced it, they said this: Nike's football roster has always been defined by the athletes who are shaping where the game goes next, says Ann Miller, Executive Vice President, Global Sports Marketing. These signings reflect our commitment to serving the best football talent at every level with the support, innovation, and partnership they need to reach their full potential on the field and away from the game. Now, that tells you everything. And they backed it up by signing Jaxon Dollar to this Nike NIL deal. Now, keep in mind, he's not in Athens. He's not on campus. He is simply committed. But Nike knows where he's going. They see the talent and they're like, yes, this looks like a win for us. And they have put their money where their mouths are. And if you start to factor in the brand power that the University of Georgia has under Kirby Smart, and obviously I'm talking about football here, but this radiates out across the rest of the University of Georgia brand. I mean, just look at what Wes Johnson's doing over with the baseball team. Just look at the big donation that happened recently to the basketball program. Georgia, in terms of athletics, is rising. They're raising the tide for everybody, and all boats are rising. And it is, if this goes the way that I think it could go, and you are now looking at Georgia shaking hands and holding shoulders with Nike, and they have a deal where this is going to be a regular thing in Athens, Georgia's NIL, whatever you want to frame it as, situation is only improving. There's no other way to look at it. Because we're not talking about me making an NIL offer to one of these people. We're talking about one of the biggest brands in the world looking at you and saying, everything about this is something we want to invest in. If you come to Georgia, you will be developed. You will have a shot to play in the NFL. You will be paid and compensated on par with the best at your position your entirety of your time in Athens. And oh, by the way, we have Nike on board as one of our premier NIL partners. And there are still shoes to drop. Understand that you still have the patch thing that could happen for Georgia. That will only add to the coffers. You can rest assured they've got a deal struck so that there's going to be an advertisement on the field. Like it or not, love it or hate it. This is where the sport is. This is where all sports are. Don't get your feelings hurt about it. Get in the game. Georgia's in the game. And they are starting to shuffle those rods that are in the fire around a little bit and kick up some sparks. And this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. You've got a young man who is, again, not in Athens, receiving a real benefit from being associated with the University of Georgia. Now, is Georgia the only school that might have the opportunity to do this? Absolutely not. But I don't care about the rest of them. I care about what Georgia can do. And right now, it looks like Georgia is flexing that muscle a little bit in this relationship, and it looks like it is a good thing. Because let's just walk through it a little bit. It wasn't just Jaxon. Remember, he's the guy who's not on campus yet. There are 6 on the roster right now who have these deals. So who is that, and what does it look like? I'll tell you. But first, I want to remind you that everything that we do here on YouTube also lives on the podcast space. So if you like to listen to podcasts, take us with you wherever you go, the theater of the mind. And if you will, follow us over on the platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Leave us a rating. Tell your friends, because that's how we're going to blow this thing up. And then everybody's going to get more Georgia Bulldogs content, and that's what we want. So, like I was saying, who is it? Well, one of the names over there that has gotten this Nike deal that's on the roster right now is a true freshman who has never played a snap at the University of Georgia, Kaiden Prothro. Again, this is a young man who now has 3 years, maybe 4, where he can sit in there, maintain his deal with Nike. If he plays well enough, he's going to get his brand, personal brand, just put out there into the world so that everything that he does moving forward is going to help shape his future. And, oh yeah, he's going to be competing for titles at one of the premier college football programs in all of college football. Seems like a pretty sweet deal. Seems like a pretty sweet deal. And, oh yeah, he's from the state of Georgia. So, grown right here in the red soil, the red clay dirt. I mean, that's what it is. Delta, same thing. Same thing. What if they decide to do a deal with Coca-Cola? Think about that. The muscle in the NIL arm for the University of Georgia could stack a lineup that would be hard to compete with from anyone across the country. So, because the companies, the corporations, it's about business. It's not about Georgia or Oregon or Ohio State. It's about business. So if everything's right and you're like, man, I want to go play at Georgia. Oh, wait, you mean Nike's going to pony up something to help that happen? Sign me up. How many recruits out there are going to be saying that or something similar over the next few years? We don't know. We can't know, but it's promising. This is something that I talked about over on Plus. And if you haven't checked that out, I would encourage you to go do that, where Georgia is positioned, unlike most teams across the country, to take advantage of this new world. The fact that it's not completely in focus yet is just part of the process, because everything is moving and coming together. But as this thing moves forward, and especially if there are guardrails put on things like eligibility, like the new 5-year rule we've seen, all of these things favor the University of Georgia moving forward because they have the mechanism and the alignment in place to take advantage of it. I'm just trying to give you a heads up on where it's going. I think that it could be really good for Georgia, but we will see. Now, before we go any further, I want to take a second because I like to look at it over here in the chat, and there's something else that happened that I just have to throw it up on the screen, and I'm going to do it right now. Carol, thank you so much. $4.99 super chat. Count me in. That'd be a ton of fun. Go Dogs. I love y'all. Now, I missed something in the chat here about what y'all were doing, but that's okay. I just know that Carol is a longtime supporter here on the channel. She not only supports what I do, if I sit in with someone else, she is more than willing to look at their content too and support them, and I appreciate that as well. Carol, thank you so much. I appreciate you supporting the work in the channel that way, because it's something you don't have to do, and to do it, it means you're going above and beyond, and man, I appreciate it, and I definitely want you to know that. So Kaiden is just one of the 6. Who else do we have? A guy you might know. All-American, third-year starter, KJ Bolden. signed with Nike. Now, y'all know I love me some KJ, but you also know that recently I said, KJ, you're great, but I need you to be special. A move like this is the kind of move that sort of gives me heart when I think about what could be happening this fall, because KJ, I think he knows you don't get to be a great player. You don't ascend the way he has so far if you're not self-aware. If you're not willing to identify what it is you got going on and what you still can do to improve. And again, I love KJ, but all I said was be an impact player. Become that difference maker that Georgia needs. He has the opportunity to do that, and Nike seems to think, like I think, that he could be in store for a big year moving forward, and then throughout his professional career, wherever that goes. And to keep the ball rolling, Talyn Taylor. He's not a freshman. He was a freshman last year, sophomore. But people look at Talyn, they look at what Georgia's doing, and they're like, that's a guy that we can really use moving forward. If you're Nike, they looked at him and said, that appears to be a rising star. We're going to make that play. So again, these aren't guys playing, fantasy college football. This is not some dude with a podcast just saying this guy's going to be good. These are people who have skin in the game and are putting their money where their mouths are and backing these young men in a way that is something you can account for. I don't know what more proof you need that these guys are being looked at as players for Georgia here in 2026. This is just another example. 5-star player, people don't know him, and the people that do know him, a large group of them still doubt him. But the indicators, they say follow the money. They seem to point to the fact that Talyn is poised and ready to do some things this year. And I know I'm pretty excited about that. So, it's going to be interesting to see. And I would like to say, hey, to everybody, all 12 of you who hit the thumbs up, thank you so much. Thank you. But to everybody else who's watching, and that's a big number, I just want to say, if I'm doing a good job, please hit that thumbs up. Costs you nothing. And it'll help tell everybody else we're over here and what we're doing. So let's see if we can do that. I'll keep trying to earn it, but I wanted to ask. I wanted to make the ask and see what you guys thought. Who else is in the chat? Mary's jumped in here with us. What's up, Mary Skinner? Good to see you in here. Welcome in. I hope you feel comfortable and at home. I hope you're having a good evening. And let's see. Dakota, welcome in. It's good to see you in here this evening. And see, Dakota's right there where I was. He needs to have that Dan Jackson year. Impactful plays. Things that make a difference. That's what we're talking about. That's what I need to see from KJ. And I told you, I think that could happen because of the way the rest of the defense, the way I expect it to play, that could free KJ up to be that guy. Boy, I'm excited for that if that's the case. I'm excited. So Talyn Taylor. Who else? Chris Cole. Y'all know I love these linebackers. I've been literally talking about them for 3 years. I have literally been trying to tell you that they are coming and they are going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I've been right every step of the way. I told you about Raylan. I told you about Justin Williams when he showed up. I told you about the fact that Zayden Walker was on board and he was going to be a difference maker. It's all happening. It's all happening. And Chris Cole was among that group. I said, watch this guy. He's a freak. Here he comes. All he did last year was lead Georgia in sacks. Now, that's not his primary role as a middle linebacker, but he still got it done. And Nike looked at him and said, yep, yes, sir. That's a guy that looks like he's headed to the league. He's going to be a playmaker for Georgia this year. We're gonna go ahead and make a little investment right there. So Chris Cole, part of that linebacker group, out there getting it done, going to do big things this year. I have no doubt. No doubt at all. Now, who else? Before we get to that, I want to remind you that if you haven't checked out our premium offer over at Patreon at How About Them Dogs Plus, I want to invite you over there to do that because just today I made our members and everybody else aware that the giveaway is going to end soon. The giveaway from our good friends over at Peach Jack Apparel, the 4 hats. If you need to see that, you can find the ad, or not the ad, you can find the post over on Instagram or over on the Plus page. Take a look at them. The only way to be entered to win those hats is to be a member over at Plus. That and so much more awaits. I hope you'll give it a shot. I hope you'll check it out and take advantage of this offer that we have going on before it goes away, because it's not going to last that much longer. Now, who else is the Georgia Bulldogs getting noticed? The alien. Elyiss Williams is another one that Nike pointed at and said, man, oh man, that we got to get on board here early, because he's already played 1 year. He's probably only going to be in Athens for 3. Let's lock him up so that we can have him moving forward. Elyiss Williams is going to, just like the rest of that tight end room this year, just going to be a nightmare for whoever Georgia plays, because of the different personnel groupings they can roll out on the field. The matchups are insane. And if Georgia does not take advantage of these tight ends in every way that they can, in the run game, screen game, in the where you hand it to your tight ends, which Georgia can do, down the field, down the seams, in the red zone, if they do not utilize these players, then we should all grab pitchforks and riot. That's just the way it should be. You would be insane to not use these players. And we're talking about guys like Elyiss Williams, but remember Kaiden Prothro from the beginning? Technically, he's a tight end. Get him on the field. I think they will. Because, again, if they don't, there will never have been a better case for somebody to throw a rock at Mike Bobo and his work at Georgia than if they don't utilize these young men. They have them. It's a matchup nightmare for other teams. They can win games by themselves. They can feed families. Mike, Gunner, Kirby, y'all got to take advantage. There is no two ways about it. It has to happen. And Elyiss is right there. And that is how you get guys year after year after year choosing to commit to Georgia if you are a top tight end prospect. You're like, how can that room be so deep? And again, there are names I'm not even touching, not even mentioning right now that are going to have an impact for Georgia this year. Just saying. That room, super special. Todd Hartley, the man. And I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again right now. You can clip it and send it to him. If you know him, I hope you do. I mean, he follows me on Instagram and Twitter, so maybe he'll see it already. But I'm just telling you, Todd Hartley, today, right now, is my vote for the next person that I want to be the head coach at the University of Georgia. What about that? He's a Georgia alum. He knows the system. He can recruit his ass off. He's learning under Kirby right now. I'm just saying. Right now, today, that's who I want. 10 years down the road now, 10 years down the road, give me another 10 years of Kirby. Maybe another 15. But when the time's right, Todd's still going to be a young man. That's what I want to happen. So just saying, just putting that out there, that's what I want to happen. Hello, baby girl. My puppy has come to say hello. I don't think you're going to be able to see her, but just know she's happy, and she's happy I'm saying hello to her. So, all right. So let's see. Dakota's talking about KJ. He says he'll never take those bad angles, but if you understand my point, we need him to make those game-changing plays. Yes, Dakota, I understand your point. I've done a whole video on it. I mean, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. 100%. Ah, yes. Yes. Let the hate flow through you. Embrace. Don't jump on my soundboard, Puddin'. Let the hate flow through you. That's what I'll say. Oh, man, people hate it. They hate it. All right, who's next? Ellis Robinson. Listen, it's still preseason, okay? So we don't know. But by the time this thing's over, by the time this year's over, if Ellis Robinson is not like a finalist or a semifinalist for the Jim Thorpe Award, I'm going to be flabbergasted. I'm going to be shocked. I think he may end up being the best DB in the country this year. We'll see. There are other guys out there that are really good. But I'm just saying, Ellis, and he's another one of those guys. He's a guy that I had to sit here and listen to people call a bust, a waste of a 5-star rating, a waste of a scholarship over the first part of his time in Athens. Why? Because he took a red shirt. And then when he did play live game action, he took some bumps and he had to learn. Name anybody doing anything ever that doesn't have to take some bumps along the way. But then, about 4 or 5 games into the year, things clicked for Ellis. And all he did from that point was go on to earn National Defensive Player of the Year as a freshman. And he's coming back. And I have talked about this a lot this spring. Ellis seems poised, especially if he ends up, and it really doesn't matter if this thing goes the way it goes on the back end, the way I think it could go. But if he's got KJ behind him, or he's got Khalil Barnes over there on his side, there's a very real shot that Georgia can just chop off half the field. Be like, not throwing it over there. So DeMello Jones on the other side, whoever is playing your star or that second safety, because I'm not sure where they're going to put Khalil, not sure till we see it. You're going to have opportunities to make plays, and you better make them, because if you don't, the competition on the back end this year at Georgia is deep enough to where somebody else is going to get in there and maybe make those plays. Maybe even a freshman like Tyreek Boogie Green. So you better show up and be ready to play, because Ellis Robinson is going to show up and be ready to play. I mean, straps in the SEC championship game against Alabama. RCW, Ryan Coleman Williams, never heard of him. Not in that game. Not in that game. Different game than the first time they met early in the year. I'm just saying, Ellis Robinson is another one. Nike looked at and said, that's a good investment. So when you're talking about Georgia, again, you can say whatever you want. Just depends on how dumb you want to sound. If you want to say that Georgia doesn't have athletes, if you want to say that Georgia doesn't have difference makers, if you want to say that Georgia doesn't have players that are going to be drafted, that Georgia's on the back foot, that they're about to fall off, I'm just telling you, say whatever you want. Maybe you don't care that the people you respect that know the game would look at what you're saying and say, that boy ain't right. Maybe you don't care. Maybe that wouldn't embarrass you. It would embarrass me if I was out there saying that. So I would say, just be real. Don't let the hatred fuel you. Don't let the jealousy fuel you. Acknowledge it for what it is. And then hope your team goes and beats them. Good luck. That's what I would say to that. So, who else is in the chat? What are y'all doing over here? I'm missing a bunch of stuff. I know I am. Let's see. What is going on? Bruce is talking about Gunner having a big year. I would think so. I've got a new piece I'm working on right now that's going to be fun, where we look at the projections for what everybody's going to do this year. Keep your eyes out for that. It's on the way. And a little Todd Hartley love over here in the chat. I love that. I love that. And you guys know what Ellis is. You guys know what it is. A little shout out to Todd Boogie there from It Is What It Is. Welcome in. Good to see you in the chat. I don't know that I've seen you in here before. Welcome. Oh, and Tim, hey man, thank you so much for that shout out about Plus. I appreciate that, friend. I appreciate that. Y'all, I'm going to throw that on the screen, Tim. Thank you so much for that. Tim has enjoyed sitting in with the group private videos that we've had over there, where you come on, we have face-to-face chats. All we do is talk ball. That's what it's about. We've got more of those coming. So if that's the kind of stuff you're into, a different level of discussion about the game, a more personal level, come on over. Check us out. I promise you, there's a lot of good stuff over there, and I'm always trying to give you more. So it's worth a shot. Take advantage of that offer. Real Young Citrus is in here. What's up? That's our resident LSU fan who drops in. I appreciate you being here. It's first year in a while. I don't have a clear-cut pick to win it all. Now, I assume, Real, you're talking about the national discussion, and I can appreciate that. I mean, most everybody's probably going to have the same kind of top 5, maybe 6, somewhere in there, and it just depends on how you shuffle them. But, you know, folks outside the SEC want to look into the SEC and throw rocks and say, well, you guys are falling off because the rosters are thinner. talent spread out. That's why these other schools are winning. Maybe. There's a certain amount of that for sure. But at the same time, they just neglect the fact that that affects them too, right? So it affects everyone. And this is going to bring you back to a larger point that I have been making for months now. And we're going to find out if I'm right. But Georgia, because of the way they have built their roster, the way Kirby goes about it, they have a homegrown roster that is now veteran. Oh, by the way, did I mention they've won back-to-back conference titles? And they have grown up wearing the G. And Georgia has more, relative depth than virtually anybody in the country. Now, there are one or two teams out there that might rival them, but this is an advantage for Georgia that I am leaning on heavily looking at the 26 season. I will say that though, because of the way they've built the roster, they don't utilize the transfer portal much. And the players that they lost in this last cycle were not really much of a loss at all. So that was kind of not even a blip on the radar. But the players they brought in, they thought they had made big moves. And Georgia has had some bad luck so far. Because back in the spring, Elyiss Williams, we know he injured his knee, tore his ACL, and I don't know that he's going to be back this year. I hear good things that he may be back, that he's progressing well, but you can't tell. You could just never know. Maybe it's a George Pickens situation where he gets back by the end of the year. Maybe that's how it goes. Or maybe he doesn't get back at all. But that's something that Georgia was counting on. His production along the defensive line was something Georgia was counting on that they don't have, at least for the majority of the year. So that's a blow. So that depth that could have been amazing is now just really good. And oh, by the way, these young players have to show up for us. There's a little bit more pressure on them. This week, we learned that another player on the offensive side of the ball, at least through reports, has suffered what is considered a fairly serious injury and is potentially not going to play this year. And that would also be a transfer addition, and that would be bad because it's bad for the young man. And if you're looking at it from a football perspective, Georgia now has Frazier and Bowens. They have Dwight Phillips. They have Bo Walker, and they have the freshman Jay Lamar. They brought in Dante, Dowdell. So if that transfer addition isn't available, Georgia loses one of the big body options that they thought they had. And that means somebody has to pick up those carries. They're not going to go away. So either Georgia gets creative in how they do it, or they just say, well, Nate, you're our bell cow. We're going to scheme it up, and you are going to be the guy who's going to get those carries in the short yardage. You better go get them. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play it, or Chauncey, whoever it is. And it's going to be interesting to see how they play it. But word has it, and it's not a good word, that, that transfer portal addition to the running back room might not be here in 2026. And that's just another tough break. Because when you don't do what LSU did, when you don't do what Ole Miss does, when you don't do what Indiana does, when you don't hit the portal and get 30, 40 guys and roll your roster over because you have to, when you don't do that, you need to hit. And every sign pointed to the fact that Georgia was going to hit on both of those guys. And now both of them are not going to be able to play. So that's not good. Doesn't mean that the season's over. It's just a bad break. So now they're going to have to figure out how to navigate that. And hopefully the rumors are not correct about the later injury here that we're discussing, and about the former injury. Maybe that one's moving along faster than any of us know, but we don't know. And we won't know until we get into the season, but it's going to be something to watch. But you can see how if you bring in 30 guys through the portal, you're like, all right, well, we got 3-4 guys at each position we were worried about. We're taking a chance. Surely somebody's going to hit for us. That's essentially what those teams are doing. Georgia's like, no, we like our roster. We like our guys. we're just going to sort of buoy all of that, a little insurance by bringing this guy here and this guy there. Both ways are fine. You could try it however you want to do it. But in Georgia's case, in this particular instance, the two players that have been hurt are players that they were counting on to be that extra depth. But even with that, I think Georgia is still relatively deeper than virtually every other team in the country. And I think that's going to be a bonus for Georgia here in 2026. So just my take on it. We'll see how it goes. Let's see what else. What are we doing? Let's jump back in the chat here for a second. I hope that sort of answers your question there. It is what it is. Yep. Talking about, yeah, Notre Dame. Oh, that schedule's crazy. Texas has more depth. Really? Okay. We'll see. Because I'm not so certain that they do. I think they have to rebuild their offensive line. That's not a concern at the University of Georgia. They have good depth on defense. But it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. We'll see. We shall see. How's Trinidad playing for a sixth year in college football? Well, I'm not somebody. See, and see, Lynn, here's the thing. First off, good to see you in the chat. I don't know that I've seen you in the chat before. Welcome in. I hope you'll stick and stay. Sub to the channel. All the good things, man. I hope you're enjoying the show. Or ma'am. I'm not sure. But I hope you enjoy the show. Now, here's the thing. Trinidad, if you've been following the sport, if you've been watching this channel, you know I talked about it. They've just had that ruling where the NCAA plans to move to a 5-for-5, right? You can, or 4-for-5. You can play 4 in 5. You got 5 years from the time you enroll in school or you turn 18. You got 5 years to play 4. Things like that are going to get rid of that Trinidad Chambliss thing because there are no more exceptions for injuries or hardships or any of that. You get the one-time red shirt. That's it. Could be medical, could be team chosen, whatever. You get one. So in the future, moving forward, I think you, sounds like, would be happy with the fact that that 6th year thing is going to go away. But keep in mind that Georgia has benefited from this in the past. Stetson Bennett, he was a 6th year guy, right? Bounced all over the place. Got to play longer because he played at, a lower level. That's kind of what happened with Chambliss here. He played at a lower level. They said, well, that's not Division I, therefore you get this other year. And oh, by the way, there was an Ole Miss judge who presided over his case. Now, I'm not saying anything's going on there, but it sure don't look good. I mean, just look at Texas Tech. Look at the mess they got into, having Texas Tech judges decide cases. So Sorsby was granted eligibility, but then everybody was like, we don't want you. And his whole thing washed out. So, but Chambliss is in, he's playing, and that's just one of the things that's going to keep going. It's one of those things that he's going to be playing, but in moving forward, the rules are changing so that eligibility sliding scale is not what it is now. And we're going to lose this idea where players are playing for their 6th, 7th, 8th year, 9th year in college football. The insanity that has produced that system is going away, and I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing. Scott Anderson, I didn't see that, so I haven't watched any of the national stuff. I don't know what they're doing. You say nobody picked UGA to win the conference. Okay, that's cool. Odds probably are against them to do it 3 years in a row. With that said, when I make my season predictions, which I still haven't completely nailed down, there's a really good chance I'm going to have them competing in Atlanta. So I think they've got a shot to do it. We shall see. We shall see. Let's see. I'm not mad about it either, Davey. Look, I'm not upset about it. If the system allows you to do it, do it. That's what I say. It's just like with NIL. If somebody wants to give you money, why not take it? But doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be a wise choice. I mean, you are making choices, and choices have consequences. And if you watch the channel, you know that I've talked about, I completely understand how young men in this position may feel they don't have a choice because they have to act now and they can't wait for 3 years for an NFL payday. I totally get it, and I respect it. So I'm not going to throw rocks at anybody who chooses another school or leaves for a better opportunity. I'm just not. And Trinidad had a chance to come back and better his situation, and they allowed him to do it. Those are the rules we're playing by. So now you just got to go beat him, and that's what I hope happens. I'd rather it go down that way than any other way. Mr. William Brown's checking in from Facebook. William, I got to tell you, I know you are starting to wonder about me. Don't. I am working on that project, and when I complete it, I'm going to showcase it right here. Thanks again, friend, for doing that. I have not forgotten about that project. I am working on it. But thanks again for doing that. It's good to see you in here on a Sunday night. Let's see. Yeah, I think Trinidad's going to be a good player. An athlete like that, again, some people have it, some people don't. He seems to have it. And as much praise as I have given him, again, I have not settled on my season predictions yet. So I always like to wait until after media days to do this kind of stuff. So we're getting close. They're going to be coming up here over the next 6 weeks. We'll get it out there and I'll let you know what I think. But I don't think, if Ole Miss has problems this year, I don't think it's going to be Trinidad Chambliss. That's what I'll say. I think they got a winner with him. I think that's good. Man, our viewer total keeps climbing, and our thumbs up, they're climbing a little bit. If I'm doing a good job, let me know. Please hit the thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. If not, that's okay. I'll keep trying. So, I'll tell you, we have kind of gotten through everything I had on my slate tonight. We're talking about Kirby Smart at Media Days, and I'm going to bring it back up, and I'm going to say to you once again, when Kirby steps to the podium, just watch, just listen as he goes through the car wash, meaning all the different stations, if you're watching on SEC Network, all the different shows where coaches make appearances. If you got local YouTube channels that you like to follow, whatever it is, just watch and see how what Kirby does is different than what everybody else is doing, because King Kirby is going to show up and deliver a message in Tampa. And if you know what to look for, it's going to be an impressive display. I stand by that. I fully believe that's the case. It's always fun to watch him do it. I really am interested in what the message is going to be this year, like what we're going to hear. I'm sure it's going to be a strong one because Georgia, again, nationally and inside the conference, people are really starting to make noise about who they think Georgia is. Kirby seems to like that, so we'll see. I think he's comfortable with his team, and that makes me feel good as a Dawgs fan. Now, the youngest roster in college football is coming off of back-to-back SEC championships and back-to-back college football playoff berths. They were young then. They were supposed to have fallen off then, and it didn't happen. And now, I think if you're being honest with yourself, you got to look at it and say, did we miss our window to take down Kirby Smart in Georgia? Okay? So, I'm inside the conference, that has to be the conversation. Just has to be. I don't know how you can look at it any other way, because now they're back, they're veteran, they're experienced, they're still crazy talented. I think you got to look at Georgia and take them seriously. They have the best offensive line in the league. I think you got to look at them and say, that's a team that if they do half of what we expect them to do, that's a team that you have to be reckoning with deep into the year this year. That's the situation. So I'm looking forward to watching that. We discussed all of that. We discussed the fact that Nike said, you know what? We're going to put our money on what we feel like is the best bet, because that's what shrewd businesses do. There aren't many out there that are more shrewd than Nike. Love them or hate them, they know how to run a business. They know how to brand and market. And they looked at the University of Georgia and said, not only do the players on the roster right now deserve our attention, but the guys they have in the pipeline to Athens deserve our attention. And we're going to go ahead and lock them down. Jaxon Dollar signed his NIL deal with Nike as a Georgia commit. Kaiden Prothro, he signed on with Nike. He was not the only one, though. KJ Bolden. We walked through them. Talyn Taylor. Chris Cole. Elyiss Williams. Ellis Robinson. All on the Nike roster here in 2026. If you need proof, they say follow the money. And I'm telling you, Nike's not shy. They're telling the whole world about it. This is where we put our money. So if they're willing to bet on it, the casual college football fan ought to pay attention. That's what I'm saying. We'll see how it goes. But one thing's for sure, I'm super excited about the fact that SEC Media Days are here. This is always one of my favorite events of the entire calendar. I enjoy it. I enjoy Georgia's coverage. I enjoy every other coach out there too. I really do live for this. My old journalist self, I really do live for it because I think that there's so much information that can be gleaned from it. And it's always just a good time. With that said, I am not officially going to be working SEC Media Days this year. I am going to be at the beach though. So that's going to be fun. The family and I are taking a run out to the beach and we're going to have a good time. I am still debating whether or not I'm going to do a live stream this week. So generally we do live streams on Wednesday night, but because we're on vacation, my daughters tell me I should not work, and that's going to be hard to do. But I've not decided. I may very well do a live stream. If I do, I will do it on Tuesday, the night Georgia shows up at Tampa. And we'll talk about what Georgia said that day, what happens, the messages that come out of it, what it means, all that. It'll be a Georgia-focused show, though. Last year, I did all 16 teams. This year, I'm just going to do Georgia because we're traveling. So I'm not going to have the opportunity. But in the weeks to come, we can sift through everything that happened at SEC Media Days. The pictures start to get clearer, and we will start to narrow down on our predictions and all those sorts of things as we get ready for the 2026 season. I got to tell you, I'm excited. Football is in the air. You can feel it. The pageantry is coming. Enjoy it. Okay? Friends, enjoy it. All year. God love us all. I see you guys in my comments. I can't wait for football. I can't wait for it to get here. Man, counting the days. It's here. It's here. Be happy. The games are not being kicked off. Just go ahead and just give yourself over to it, though. The season is here. This is our time to shine. So let's get ready to enjoy it because honestly, we are just like 6 weeks, 5 weeks away from being able to say every week the rest of this year, we're going to have football. So it's coming. I'm excited for it. I hope you guys are too. I know you are. If you weren't, you wouldn't be on this channel. That's just how that goes. And yes, see, this is why I love the chat because you guys are jumping in here and letting me know what's going on. William is letting us know. He's like, man, I love the sit down interviews with Marty and McGee. And those are pretty good. I enjoy those too. I don't often watch those shows. And I'm not sure why that works out that way. Maybe it's a scheduling thing, but I watch Cole's show. He does with Roman Harper. I really enjoy that show. I don't often get to watch, though, Marty and McGee. With that said, those two guys are great guys. Marty, fantastic person, great guy. And they just, they do a good job. So I enjoy those sit downs too, because they don't just look at X's and O's. They're looking for everything else. They're storytellers, and I appreciate that. So, William, I am with you there, friend. I enjoy those too. And that's the kind of stuff we get from SEC Media Days because you have a time to look at all that, right? You have a chance to get people on record about stuff that you won't have a chance to talk to them about once the season begins. And that's why these things are really, really cool, I think. Shane, thank you very much for the well wishes. Thank you very much. It looks like, I don't know, I'm going to check the weather when I get done here. Looks like there could be a tropical storm headed into the Panhandle or maybe South Alabama, something like that. I'm not sure, but I'm going to check on it. I'm not scared. I love severe weather. I'm a bit of a weather nerd, and I really do enjoy that. So, but you guys stay safe. If that's anywhere near you, make sure you stay safe. And don't worry, even if I don't do the live stream, there's going to be stuff happening. I will be doing stuff on the socials. If you're over at Plus, everything lands at Plus. So if you don't want to do all the other socials, just come on over to Plus. You'll catch everything there. That was the whole point, right? So yeah, you guys take care of yourselves, take care of each other, take care of your friends, your family. As always, go Dogs!